Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Wildcat Way Show with the first of our series, Put Me In Coach. This series is going to focus on the athletic programs at Pearl River Community College. I'm your host, Mackenzie Hickman, and today I have with me Coach Haley Chatham, who is our volleyball coach. On the Wildcat Way Show, we like to shine a light on people that represent our motto of pride, respect, class, and character, and Coach Haley definitely does that. So I'm really excited to have her on the show, and welcome to the show today.
I'm glad to be here. This is my first time to be on the Wildcat Way Show, so I'm excited.
Absolutely, I love it. I can't wait for our viewers to get to know you a little bit better and get to know our volleyball program a little bit better through this interview too. So we'll kind of start off with just about you, where you grew up and where you went to high school.
I grew up on the coast of Mississippi. I went to Van Cleve High School. I played soccer and a little bit of volleyball there. I wasn't very good at volleyball. And then my family has pretty much stayed on the coast, since then until now.
Okay, awesome. And so what made you said you kind of did a little bit of volleyball, so what got you really into volleyball?
Well, when I started coaching as an assistant, I was coaching soccer and volleyball. And there was a couple of things. I really started falling in love with volleyball and just the rhythm on the court and the camaraderie with the girls and the players, and we always get such good kids, on our volleyball teams. But then I think one of the biggest decision factors was the air condition and the indoor sport, because when you start getting older, those things count and they matter. Absolutely. So when I had to choose between one or the other, I'd already fallen in love with volleyball, and then the AC helped.
Absolutely, I can definitely see that, especially in this heat now.
Yeah, I'm so thankful I'm not out there coaching soccer in this heat.
Absolutely. So where were you coaching at originally? Like when you were
I started as an assistant in both at St. Martin High School.
Okay.
And then I took the head position at Van Cleve High School, and I was there for 5 years until I came here.
Awesome. So what kind of was the connection that got you here to Pearl River?
I don't think there was a connection, really. I didn't know a soul here before I came. I had never been to Poplarville before, and they just called me up. We were able to enjoy some success at Van Cleve, with our program, and they called me up, and it just seemed to be a good fit. So here we are.
So what did you think of Poplarville the first time that you came here?
It's a sweet, nice little town. Now, we do have to go a long way to get to Walmarts or anything like that. I'm still adjusting to that after 5 years. But, it's a good place. There's good people, and especially here on the campus. Everybody's welcoming. They're ready to help you out. They're so supportive. They treat women's sports exceptional here at Pearl River, which means a whole lot to me. So, it's good. It's all been good.
Absolutely. So, and this was the first volleyball team that Pearl River had. You were coming in kind of like starting a whole new program. So what did that look like for you?
Well, and it was the first JUCO program in the state of Mississippi also. So, it was tough, It was, coming into something brand new, and there really wasn't like a path to follow and kind of have any guidance in the volleyball area. I said I'll never say this again, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So I'm not going to say that, but it was up there.
It was one of those tough things to do. So how did you kind of start with recruiting and maybe getting help with coaches and stuff like that with the volleyball program?
I just jumped in and just started going. I learned a whole lot that first season. There's a lot of differences between coaching high school and coaching in this league, and I really used that first year as a learning experience. But after the first year, the second year is easier, the third year is easier. Everybody here has been very helpful in any way they can be, and so I just keep learning.
Yeah.
Every year, even this year, I'm sure there's going to be a ton to learn. Okay. So. This the whole thing's a learning process, but the first year is definitely the toughest.
The toughest, and this is your
fifth season.
Fifth season. Okay, so you're going into your fifth season, and I also read too in one of your interviews that you've got 9 returning volleyball athletes this year, and this is the first time that you've had that many sophomores on your team. So what does that mean for your season? Well,
and I'm going to attribute that to us having 13 freshmen last year on our squad and only 4 sophomores. And then I'm going to go back and attribute that to the COVID season, where we had some kids that we were able to keep for 3 years, which was a whole lot of fun. I love those kids. I never want to see any of them leave. So of course, we did that. But having this many sophomores, I can already tell they've got a year of experience under their belt, which is huge in this league. It's almost all about experience and the quality of player that you bring in. But I don't care, you can bring in the best player in Mississippi, graduating senior, the first couple matches and the first couple weeks for her are going to be tough. Yeah, making that adjustment. It was really tough last year making that adjustment with 13 freshmen and having most of them on the court, at some point. But this year, we've had an easier start because our sophomores, they're leaders and they've been here and they know what to do, and they're really doing a good job with our freshmen and helping them adjust
and transition into that. And I can imagine that college, even coaching wise, is like a lot different than high school, and the fact that these girls get to be together pretty much every day by like living together and staying on campus. So kind of what does that look like, and how does that help with the camaraderie of the team by them being on the same campus together all the time?
Well, and that is one of the big differences. The age difference of kids is a big difference too. Whenever you're going from high school and living with their parents at home, and that's kind of who they vent to and talk to, and get to spend every night with their parents. I always think back whenever I came here and started. It was in, I think, February of 2019. I left my previous job as a speech language therapist, holding little kindergartners' hands to the bathroom, and stepped here the next day where these kids are grown, so it was a little bit of a shock to me. So that's really different. The camaraderie, like our dorm situation is really good here for them. They get to stay in the new women's dorm, and there's 6 rooms in that dorm, and they have like a little living room. It's really homey for them. That's what they say, at least compared to the 2-person dorm rooms that we used to be in. I think that really helps too. It helps them to, I don't know, we have bigger groups that are good friends and that, can have each other's back and work things out together instead of everybody just being divided into those little rooms, I guess I'll say. Exactly. But, and then sometimes too, we really have to keep an eye on it, because I know if I was around the same 18 people or 17 people all the time, eat together, sleep together, play together, practice together, all that, we all need a little break from each other. So I try to be really mindful to make sure they get their little breaks and their little breaks from me and all that. But we hadn't had any problems, and the girls that we have on the squad right now, they're good girls. They have a good grip on what's important, and you can't say that about a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds. So the outlook for that and our team camaraderie for this season is really good.
That's awesome. So talking about this season in particular, you've already had a couple games for this season, and you've won both of them. So how is this season looking like to you? Like, what are you kind of expecting?
Well, there's no gimmies in this league. Like, you can't walk into somebody's gym and ever say, okay, we're gonna win this one. I learned that we're in high school. You can, especially if you're a good team. There's some teams that are going to be put on your schedule that are maybe in your district that that you're going to win. Like, you can play everybody out of position and win. It's kind of a little different, but teams in this league are different every year. Teams that maybe didn't win a lot the year before can have a lot of sophomores this year and recruited a lot of good freshmen. They can be really good. So every game is going to be a fight. We're always going to go in and respect our opponent from the start. No matter who it is on the other side of the net. Our girls have a lot of potential this year to do some big things and win a lot of games, and I believe they can do it. We just have to commit to respecting who's across the net and playing our game every time we're on the court.
Absolutely. And kind of talking about the player in particular, whenever you're recruiting or whenever you're working on a player or trying to make them better as a coach, what are like the key things that you're really looking for in a player? Like, what means the most to you? Maybe something over being the most athletic or anything. Like, what is kind of is it more like work ethic or anything like
understanding what a team is and how to be a part of a team, and honestly, that's getting this is smaller and smaller group of kids that really understand that, whose parents have really instilled that into them, and understand that they're a part of something bigger, and not just in volleyball, but their place in this world. They're a part of something bigger. The kids that get that and understand that come here and are successful right away. That's the absolute most important. Just girls that aren't afraid to support other girls and clap for other girls and cheer on other girls, and understand that we're all part of a team, and we're going to know our role, and we're going to do it well, and we're going to do whatever's best for our team. Absolutely. So those are the ones I want.
Absolutely. And speaking of that bigger role, as a coach, is there anything that you think of that you want to maybe impact your athletes with beyond the game of volleyball? Whenever they come and they're a student athlete here at Pearl River playing volleyball, what kind of legacy or impact do you want to leave with them?
Well, to be honest, every match, and I know, and of course it happens a little more often than this, but every match that we have, I always stand back and say a prayer for every single one of our players, of course, for them to have great games and no injuries and to be happy and to have fun. But I also say a prayer for myself that I can be a light and be a good example for them, especially in how to treat other people. And I hope that they, can walk away from this program understanding how important it is to treat others with respect and kindness, and to have some self-control too in situations that might not be optimal. So I think that that's the most important thing for me here when I bring kids here. They leave and they have a good example to look back on how to treat people.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Well, kind of to wrap everything up, what is your maybe long-term goals for the program here at Pearl River and the volleyball team? Like, what do you see, or what is your ultimate goal for the program?
Well, I really just think this has been such a wonderful thing, this JUCO volleyball in our state, to give girls in our state who work hard, who are great athletes, who are now playing club and getting better at volleyball opportunities after high school, because they didn't have a whole lot. Right. Now, with the increase in teams in Mississippi, with the increases of clubs coming in, our girls are getting better and they are getting some higher level opportunities. But this one right here is giving a lot of kids in our state the opportunity to keep playing after high school and to get great educations. And some players, they're only in college to play sports. Right. So being able to have that avenue to get an education is awesome, and I just want to keep that going. Right. Of course we want to be competitive, and we want to stay on top. We want to secure some wins, maybe some conference wins that we haven't quite been able to secure yet, and that's always a big goal, but just to keep it going, just to keep it relevant and keep this option open for the kids in our state.
I think that's awesome. Well, that's a great goal to have, and I want to thank you so much for coming on to the Wildcat Way Show.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for coming to Shivers.
Absolutely. I love being in Shivers. This is one of my favorite places to do an interview, just because it's the gym and it's so much fun to be a part of. But thank you so much for sitting down with me today and kind of letting everybody get to know you and your program a little bit better.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of the Wildcat Way Show. This was our first series, Put Me in Coach. So tune in next week for another episode. This was Coach Haley Chatham, and we'll see you next week.